Our love was on the wing. It's VGC, the video game podcast, with me, Jordan Midler, and Chris Scullion. This week, Ubisoft is in the bin, and so are all these 30th anniversary PS5s. But first, how you doing, Chris?
I'm doing good. It's been a week.
Has been a week.
I've just been ill for most of it. I don't know, just general malaise. So, yeah. I'm looking forward to the weekend.
So when I was in school, I was one to take time off at the drop of a hat if I was feeling even slightly unwell. So it's completely skewed my ability to tell if I'm actually unwell. So now in a job that I love, if I wake up and I'm feeling rough, I just default oh well, I'll just work anyway. I have to be I can't see before I take time off.
Same. I've just ploughed through it, and unless I can't get off the couch, in which case I'm physically unable to do this. Let's not.
Especially when we're looking at screens just the entire time, becoming even speckier than we are.
Yeah, exactly. All good.
Can't get much on this weekend. I know you're away 2 weeks you're away to El Disney.
That's right. No, this weekend we're going to professional wrestling at Airdrie Town Hall. So that'll be interesting.
Who's working? Roman Reigns.
Roman's not. He couldn't make it. He's got a birthday to go to. But I believe it's. I can't remember their names, but it's former ICW wrestlers. I believe one of them was in NXT UK for 20 minutes. So that'll be interesting. A bit of banter, I'm sure, no doubt.
You get any good formerly known as Dylan Postel, formerly known as Hornswoggle?
no Hornswoggles. Sadly, I've not looked at the full card. My brother booked the tickets and he sent me the two kind of main events. There's a tag championship and a world championship up for grabs. But I can't say I was familiar with any of the turns.
It's been defended in Madison Square Garden, in Sumo Hall, in the Tokyo Dome, in Airdrie Town Centre.
I once went to, I don't know if I told you this before, when Yokozuna was nearing the end of life.
God rest him.
And he was touring around the UK with, I want to say it was Rikishi, but he was just known as Fatu at the time.
Yeah.
This is pre-Attitude Era, before Rikishi joined the WWE. And two of them were touring the UK, and I went to one, I think it might have been Airdrie Town Hall, and that was the main event was that Yokozuna and Fatu were there. It was carnage. There was no security, so after every match, loads of kids just rushed the ring and jumped into the ring, and were standing up on the ropes like doing poses and everything in the ring. And you kept getting a guy. The guy kept coming on the mic and going, "Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, if you do not leave the ring, then Yokozuna and Fatu will not be signing autographs in the foyer." Don't give a fuck, mate. There's kids just the glory days.
Bet Yokozuna was really putting in the work then.
Yokozuna was could barely walk. It
was like that Legends of Wrestling or whatever it was with Jake the Snake, where he just comes in and rubs his tits.
It was like when they did the gimmick battle royale in WrestleMania one year, and it was clear from the get-go that Iron Sheik was winning it because he had robot knees and was incapable of going over the top rope.
You would think the robot knees would give him an advantage, but I mean, apparently not. Before we get into all the nonsense and the energy drink reviews, if you enjoy this podcast and would like more podcast videos and extra VGC, patreon.com/video games chronicle. This week we put up our Q&A, and then next week we've got 2 bits of content, including the long requested E3 recap. So we'll see you then. Chris, you have an energy drink review for us, I believe.
I do. I don't get classified as an energy drink, but I'm trying to step outside the scope of energy drinks as well every now and then, like the Oreo Coke last week.
Yep, disgusting.
So today I've got Stranger Things, Starcourt Strawberry and Lychee Rift, which apparently is a taste of the upside down. It would appear, which is weird because the can appears to suggest that the Lychee Rift bit is upside down, implying that half the drink's upside down. Which
that would be
isn't the case.
If it was somehow a can that could open on both sides, that'd potentially be interesting. But
there's a mechanism there, but I don't know. The concern, not that this is a judge of anything, is that it's 2 calories, which suggests to me there's not a lot of.
Have we got any preamble? Have we got any? It tastes like
nothing. It literally just says strawberry and lychee sparkling drink with sweetener. There's nothing that says get a taste of a demi-gorgon with every drink. Nothing like that. Just literally
tastes like Winona Ryder's sweat.
Exactly. It's just literally Stranger Things. Get it, don't you? So
Stranger Things. Get it, don't you?
I'm getting a strawberry bouquet. So the strawberry bit. I've never had a lychee, so I don't know what lychee tastes like.
In the Greater Glasgow area, when I was coming up, they would bring exotic fruits to our primary school every Friday, including like a pomegranate,
like pineapple,
yeah, like a grape. But one week they had lychee, and we all tasted it. And I mean, what can I remember from being 7 years old? Very little, but lychee wasn't offensive.
Wasn't? Yeah. Okay. So we'll see. We'll have a go.
He's drinking the Stranger Things concoction. He's throwing it back, and he's also drinking. How are we feeling about it? Oh, this isn't radio, Chris. You can't drink a full can of juice.
No, I'm not drinking a full can. I needed a second attempt. It's very. There's a hint of strawberry there. There's not a lot of flavour to it, if that makes sense. It's cold and fizzy and wet, and then there's like a suggestion of strawberry. It's almost like a fizzy version of a bottled water with strawberry flavour.
Is it like have you ever tasted a LaCroix? One of these.
I haven't tasted one of those bad boys, but
yeah, it's like flavoured sparkling water, basically.
It feels more like that. Like there's mostly water in there, and not a lot of kind of juices. So it's inoffensive, but I'm probably not going to finish it. I'm probably going to go back to my backup Iron Brew, just to kind of get some taste back in my life.
Probably not a bad idea. Speaking of great taste, story number 1: Sony had a state of play this week. The main highlights include Ghost of Yote coming 2025, set 300 years after Ghost of Tsushima from Sucker Punch. This is a bigger game than I was expecting to be announced here, Chris.
Yeah, well, usually when it's a state of play as opposed to a showcase, you think this is just going to be a recap of stuff. It's weird. The 30th anniversary PlayStation is the sort of thing you would have expected at the end of a state of play.
Yeah.
But when they announced that ahead of time, you thought, oh, aye. But yeah, it's nice. It's another new kind of first party studio game, which is what we've kind of been waiting for a while. Everyone's been saying, "Where's the games? Where's the games?" It's like, okay, well, here's one, and we don't know when in 2025 yet. It's coming, do we?
Christmas, surely. That's got to be
it may be a while yet, but at least it's one to add to the list of stuff that's coming. So there's that at least. But yeah, it looks fine. I never played Tsushima, to be honest, so it was hard to get massively excited for it, but it looks really nice.
The big A4 piece of paper that says Returnal and Astrobot on it has a third game on it now. Congratulations. So I really liked Ghost of Tsushima. The first one is like it's a bit it's kind of basic. It's kind of an Assassin's Creed 'em up, but I think it did a lot of stuff better than Assassin's Creed. It looks amazing. The story was great. And yeah, when this first happened, I was like, okay, when the trailer started and you got the Sucker Punch logo and that, I was like, okay, it's Ghost of Tsushima 2. I think it's interesting that they're doing a change in naming convention, which at first made me think it was like a Miles Morales style spin-off, and then they'll eventually do a Ghost of Tsushima 2 with Jin Sakai, but that doesn't seem to be the case.
It sounds like it's full on, yeah.
Yeah, which, I mean, it's great, and I'm glad that it's a 2025 game. Like, you could so easily see, because obviously we've known Ghost 2 was Ghost 2 in quotes was happening for a while, but I always presumed that when they would announce it, it would be like a 2026 game or something like that. So it being ready to go is pretty good.
It also means that with a naming scheme like that, they can do more in the future and have like loads of other new places.
Yeah.
So you don't have to return to Tsushima. It can be like next one, can be like Ghost of Motherwell.
Ghost of Grimsby.
Exactly. So the world is an oyster.
Do you think the island of Japan? Do you think the island of Tsushima feels hard done by after they made Jason Connell and Nate Fox like honorary president? And then
they did all that, and they're getting loads of tourists and going, "This is amazing. This is the best thing that ever happened to us." And now, like, well, it's not Yote anymore; it's Hokkaido. It is nowadays. So they'll be like rubbing their hands now, going, "Yes." Yeah, fun times.
The trailer looked great, and there's the intro to Ghost of Tsushima is like this really famous prologue bit, and you ride through this field and it just looks beautiful, and it's really like a big graphical showcase, and they did that again, but it's got like 50,000 horses in it, and I was like, that's the power of the PS5.
The horsepower.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah,
I do feel, but we'll touch on this in more detail later. But just briefly, I do feel for Ubisoft.
Oh God, I know.
Because they were obviously preparing to delay Assassin's Creed anyway.
Yeah.
And then when this got announced, you can just imagine Big Eve going, Christ! What is this? But
yeah, especially when all of the previews for Assassin's Creed Shadows were like, hope it's as good as Ghost of Tsushima, and now they're like, here we go, PS5 Ghost of Tsushima, Ghost of Yote. But yeah, that's pretty cool. That was a good way to end things off. I think that I think overall State of Play was actually a bit better than I was expecting. So I was expecting more things like Horizon Remastered, as reported by VGC in 2022. The game will be available for 50 smackaroonies, 50 American smackaroonies. I believe it's 45 British smackaroonies. Owners of the original game can upgrade to the remaster for $9.99. Immediately following this announcement, the original game was bumped up in price, so that regardless if you're buying the old one and upgrading it or just buying the new one, it's the same price. Sony says that the upgrade will include 10 hours of re-recorded motion capture, bringing the game to the same fidelity as Horizon Forbidden West. How excited are you, Chris Scullion?
Yep. here's a news story. I've looked into my crystal ball, not for the first time. Here's a news story when this comes out.
Go.
And there's going to be a shitstorm. Do you remember during the pandemic, Sony did its Play at Home campaign, and one of the part of that was they gave away Horizon to everyone for free. I'll bet you those free ones don't count for the upgrade.
Chris Scullion, they've already said they do.
They do? Well,
I couldn't believe it.
I'm going to take my crystal ball back to Halfords.
I also couldn't believe it because, like you, we've got the same brain. We'd always
done it before.
What's the traffic going to be? And that would have been the traffic.
Right. Because they did that with Final Fantasy. Remember, the Final Fantasy VII, they said, if you got the remake, the PS4 one, through PS Plus or something like that. I can't remember the exact details of it, but there was some sort of shenanigans going on. But, well, that's surprising.
I bet those shenanigans were Square Enix flavoured more than anything. I mean, as evidenced by the fact that they refused to put fucking characters in Astrobot. Speaking of Astrobot DLC, 5 speedrun levels, 10 new bots out later this year. They showed off Eve from Stellar Blade, who was in the credits, and Johnny Helldiver from Helldivers. Now, they said there's 10 new bots. In that trailer, they showed 4 Helldivers during that logo. If that counts as 4, it's on site, Nico. I know you're a VGC member of this family, but I will not take that as 4 characters.
No, not when they pulled it before. But like, here's the Ape Escape stage. Here's 400 apes. They all count as separate.
At least they had different wee accessories. The Hellgast are literally just 3 Hellgast.
Yeah, we'll see.
When you could have had General Radek from Killzone 3, I mean, come on.
Yeah, we'll go there. As long as Sweet Tooth's in there, I'll be happy.
Yeah. So I imagine it's because a couple of weeks ago, if you're not caught up, it was noticed that in the credits for Astrobot, which wasn't the case during the review period, that these got updated, that they added some credits for companies that aren't in the game. So if there's 10, right, we assume they've said there's 10, so Eve is 1, Helldiver is 2, and then they've credited Ubisoft for Rayman, Assassin's Creed, and Beyond Good and Evil. That's 5. They've also credited Argonaut for Croc, so that's 6. And maybe I'm misremembering, but I think there was maybe 1 or 2. So you say Sweet, there's maybe 3 that we don't know about.
There's maybe, I mean, we saw that concept art during Andy's kind of video tour. There was a bit where it briefly showed concept art, and Sweet Tooth and Fat Princess were on the concept art. So that's potentially 2 of them.
So I think the Fat Princess one probably won't happen because that Fat Princess bot is already in the game. She's just like in a level because she's like not bot shaped. She's like a massive blob. Which probably just as well. Yeah,
because that game hasn't aged tremendously.
But Sweet Tooth, I think, is pretty much nailed on. I mean, you get Sweet Tooth, you go to the Gashapon and the accessories, the wee car, and he scoots about the place like it's the easiest thing in the world.
Plus, it will kind of help push the TV series that not a lot of people watched, but by all accounts was actually half decent.
Yeah, big Samoa Joe himself.
The man.
We never talked about that. I can't. Oh yeah, this happened as the podcast was happening last week. But Samoa Joe's in that new Pirate Yakuza game. Love to see it.
I say I had totally missed
he's
that.
one of he's like one of the pirate captains or something like that.
Some boy.
I hope he has his big dick tattoo from TNA. Monster Hunter is out on February 28th. Looking forward to that. And Power World's on PS5 right now.
But not in Japan.
Yeah.
Did you see that? They're like hot fire. Nintendo eyeing it up, going, "Oh, here he is." And they just went, "Yeah, hold on.
Let's make our money while we have a chance before Pikachu with a gun turns up and puts an end to Pikachu with a gun." Yeah, overall state of play, I'd give it 3.5 stars, something like that. I thought it was alright.
That's fair. I nothing other than Ghosts of Yotei. There was nothing like mind blowing, but it was good enough. Nothing. There wasn't anything there that you're sitting going, "What is this shit?" There was nothing particularly offensive in it. So yeah, I think 3.5 is fair.
I'm not entirely surprised that they didn't show the Days Gone remaster here. I think that would have been like slightly overkill. With the Horizon stuff as well. But I mean, that's down the line. They'll shove that in somewhere when they have something else good to announce straight after it, so people aren't like, Days Gone remaster, what are you playing at? Days Gone without the director's cut.
Like, here now, everyone. Here is Days Gone remastered, and here's Bloodborne.
Yeah, people are just flashbanged by the FromSoft logo, exactly. And that's it. One of these days. Yeah. If they were going to announce something as amazing as a new Bloodborne game, I wish they would do it in a venue with people in it. I'd want that to be a Game Awards announcement, so people are like ripping the fucking walls down and shit like that. I wouldn't want it to just be on a stream.
I don't know if did I mention this when I went to, when I was at opening night live for Gamescom and they showed the new Borderlands, and then when I came back to the hotel and checked the feed of it, they didn't have the crowd noise.
Yeah, they didn't.
And the crowd were losing their shit. And I was like, those are the moments that you want. Yeah. And the same with Mafia at the end. I was like, surely you want to hear everyone going, "Oh, that's half the fun."
The best announcement video, well, one of the best ever, is that one at PlayStation Experience where it's like, here's the last thing, here's the Naughty Dog logo, and then it like peels through the forest and shows the Firefly thing, and they've mixed in the crowd noise, and it's like WrestleMania. Like people are going absolutely spare.
Yeah,
we miss that. I miss that stuff so much, man. The live shows. Anyway, we've ranted about that stuff forever. Speaking of people who used to put on a live show, Ubisoft are in bits. They recorded the lowest share price in 11 years this week. As Chris mentioned, Assassin's Creed Shadows has been delayed till February 14th from November, and Star Wars Outlaws had a disappointing launch. Quote, in response to player feedback, Ubisoft's development teams are currently fully mobilized to swiftly implement a series of updates to polish and improve the player experience in order to engage a large audience during the holiday season to position Star Wars Outlaws as a strong, long-term performer. It sounds like they're going to try and relaunch this game, Chris.
It certainly sounds that way. It's going to go Concord. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know what's going on.
It should they have a new Assassin's Creed and they have a Star Wars game. Like, this should be a pure strong.
But even like the Assassin's Creed, I can't get excited for it.
Yeah,
like I'll get it, I'll play it, but it's weird because they had a spell where, and like a number of years ago, they had a spell where the games were probably worse than they are now. Like the Assassin's Creed games that came out before they went kind of massive again. I completely lost track of the names of them all, but the one that was in England and the one that was kind of
Valhalla.
Well, not even like before all that. And then when they got to the kind of more recent ones, like Assassin's Creed's really good again.
Syndicate, the one.
All those for me, that was the Ubisoft's kind of crap period. And then they've been bringing it back. Well, Star Wars was a disappointment. I've got like an hour or two into that. I got hit with all the stealth stuff that everyone's complaining about and gave up. And now that they're kind of working on it, I'm probably just going to sit on it and not do anything until it's fixed. You know, why should I play through it if they're improving it as we speak? I don't know what's going on there. Nothing is massive exciting. Thingy must have been underwhelming. The Avatar game must have sold underwhelmingly as well, because that just came and went like a fart in a spacesuit. Like it's just nobody cared.
Yeah, it's so weird because it felt like they had an era there where they were doing their Rainbow Six stuff, which seems to be doing well for that audience. Like they had the Assassin's Creed was coming back. It seems like since Skull and Bones, since that kind of era, everything's just been kind of middling. Like, when's the last Far Cry game was crap in my opinion. Like, when's the last time they put out like a undisputed banger that everyone was like, oh, okay, Ubisoft's gonna, was it like, I mean, the last Watch Dogs was, I didn't think was very good. Like, it's all sort of all over the place, and I don't know how they redress that balance. Like, I thought I had really high hopes for Outlaws, and it previewed really well. It just didn't come together as a final product, and I wonder what is it about Shadows that they think we've got the time between November and February to push it over, what, from like a low 80s to like a mid to high 80s on Metacritic. Like,
it's weird. I think part of it's also a kind of Fool Me Once situation where they went for the longest time jamming so much shit into their games, like the kind of stuff that people don't want. Like Riders Republic, I was really excited about when they first announced that. I was like, oh, this looks like The Crew, but with like bikes and everything, with mountain bikes and snowboarding and everything. And then when they launched it, it was like, here is that you cannot move in this game for DLC and outfits and all this crap. I'm like, I just want to play the game, mate. I'm not interested in this. This thing they continue to persevere with, where you unlock achievements in their own wee separate store to get weird crap for your game. I don't care.
Wallpapers, brother.
Yeah. They're just they jam so much weird crap into the games and kind of make them so bloated and so overwhelming that players just are just exhausted, like to get through it. Like I don't know. It feels like people are just exhausted with Ubisoft just now, and it takes a lot to actually get them excited for one of their games now.
I think the thing for me is, Ubisoft is one of these companies that, despite the fact that we make fun of them quite a lot, every time they put out something, I'm like, I expect it's going to be at least this bar of quality, you know? Like, a Ubisoft game is going to have tons to do. It's probably going to look pretty good. Like, it's going to at least be interesting. And when I saw, so it's a tale of two games. At Summer Game Fest, I saw Shadows and I saw Outlaws. I played Outlaws and I was like, okay, this seems like Star Wars formula, Ubisoft formula, made into something kind of interesting. It didn't come together for me. I know a lot of people have been more kind of warm to it than I have, but it didn't work for me. Whereas during the Shadows demo, everyone was just kind of like, we're not seeing what this is that's really pushing things forward. Like, you'd think after the years and years and years of people asking for it, the Samurai Assassin's Creed would be something kind of mind-blowing, but it's a little bit underwhelming. And I think obviously the Tsushima stuff doesn't help, but I think even in isolation, it wasn't when I finished the Shadows demo, I wasn't like, I want to play that right now kind of thing.
And it's infuriating because of all the games I want to see do well, it's Assassin's Creed Shadows, because you know for a fact if that comes out and it's 70s across the board on Metacritic, you will get idiots going, well, that's what happens when you go woke. That's what caused it. It's like, no, it's just because it wasn't that good a game. It's that's the one game I desperately want to see getting critically acclaimed.
Yeah,
but it sounds like, I mean, the very fact that it was out in November, now they've pushed it back 3 months, suggests they're not happy with it yet. And there's only so much you can do in 3 months.
Yeah, I was going to say,
as a developer, it's like that's not kicking the can far enough down the path to fix all the issues it might have.
That's so like a little bit of polish here and there. And the other end of the spectrum is if it comes out and we all review it and are like, oh yeah, it's pretty good, 4 stars, like, and everyone will be like, oh, you're only saying this because it's got wokeness in it.
I know,
mate.
But there must be a problem there if they're pushing it beyond Christmas.
Yeah,
if they're bringing it out in February when people famously don't buy a lot of games.
I mean, this February people will be forced to buy a lot of games. You keep talking and I'll find the February list because it's absolutely
that's right. To be fair, it's absolutely it's heaving in it. But yeah, it's you know, when a game is positioned for a November release, they're expecting lots of big Christmas sales for it. So it would take something full on to decide, actually, we don't want that Christmas. We don't want those Christmas sales. We're actually going to put it further back, especially when there aren't a lot of enormous games. Are there? I need to have a kind of look at the schedule again. I don't think there's a lot of massive stuff in November.
There's like COD and Indiana Jones, and that's kind of about it. Nothing in that.
I'm curious about Indie.
Yeah,
Indie's one of those games for the first time in ages. I can't predict it. It's going to. I have no idea whether it's going to be 7s or 9s. I can't tell at all.
So February, when Assassin's Creed Shadows is now scheduled, 11th of February, Civilization 7. 11th of February, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. 14th of February, Assassin's Creed Shadows. 18th of February, Avowed and Lost Records, Bloom and Rage. And then on the 28th of February, Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. 28th of February, Monster Hunter Wilds. That is like 6 big games in one, and like it kicks off on the 11th, so it's in like a 15-day period.
And I don't imagine I'm the only person who would think this. I imagine you think this as well. If you're saving up for 2 games that month, you're getting Yakuza and you're getting Monster Hunter.
Yeah, almost certainly, or maybe 7 Monster Hunter, like that, like the Avowed
depending
obviously
on your
has the Game Pass thing where most people will get it via that. And Kingdom Comes. I actually think Kingdom Come will be a sleeper hit because everything we've put out about Kingdom Come has got like this massive reception that I've just not really foreseen. But I think Assassin's Creed might, unless it's really good, I think it's getting sent out to die there, which is weird.
Does it almost make sense to push it back again?
Yeah, definitely.
It's going to become the next Skull and Bones. Are we going to be reviewing this in 2028?
Mind that Skull and Bones thing, the on-stage preview, when they're like, Skull and Bones. Skull and That's tremendous. I've opened 2024 in video games to see, like, so it was late November. What is it getting out of the way for here? So late November has Mario and Luigi Brothership. It has Lego Horizon Adventure. Flight Sim.
That's an open. That was a perfect window for it because even there are no big third person adventure games.
Oh yeah, nothing
like that around it to compete with it. Whereas, like you say, in February, there's quite a few there that are kind of similar type, like have the similar viewpoint as the games that appeal to people who like that type of thing. People who are into Assassin's Creed won't necessarily be into a Mario RPG or Flight Sim. That November was perfect for them. Whereas, like we say, if they're dropping it now into a big sea of games that are all kind of visually a bit similar.
Yeah. God, this is a bit of a scratchy Christmas, you know? There's really not that much coming out.
It's mostly because October's got all the big ones, isn't it? Maybe.
Yeah, Call of Duty and Dragon Age and bits and pieces like that. Silent Hill and isn't Slitterhead December? I'm keen to see. I want to see that in the same kind of what was the name of that game that Ghostwire Tokyo, that kind of it's giving me vibes of that. That game was interesting.
It's funny, I watched that Slitterhead promo that they did yesterday during Xbox's Tokyo Game Show thing, and your man who was kind of leading it says, I don't think this has ever been done before, the idea of switching from one NPC to the next and controlling them. I'm like, mate, if you ever played a little game by Shiny Entertainment called Messiah back in the day, but no, I'm up for it. It looks good.
Messiah, origin of the Roblox oof.
Correct, yes.
Yeah. Shout out
Messiah, which has now been renamed Oof the Game. Speaking of which, here's a left field thing. You know your man Tommy Tallarico, who's been out of the picture, for a while. He's been out of the picture for a while. He recently, he put up a big Facebook post a couple of days ago. I followed him on Facebook after I interviewed him years ago about the Amico when it was still a thing. His dad passed away, so he kind of went like quiet for a while, and kind of that's when he stepped down from Amico and someone else took over to lead the Amico project and all that, and then television stuff. And he said, and he basically saying that his dad loved backgammon, so he started to get properly into backgammon and learn backgammon for like 12 to 14 hours a day. He properly went, but he's like, I'm pure backgammon mad, me. He's went and won some big global backgammon tournament. He's now some like a backgammon world champion. What maybe he did? So congratulations to Tommy Tallarico on his backgammon success.
He'll be applying for a new world record soon enough. World's greatest backgammon player. Yeah, Ubi's in a bit of a strange situation, but I think we've had enough of them for the moment. Last story before the break. The PlayStation 30th anniversary stuff went on sale yesterday, and it was a bin fire. Predictably, the Pro bundle sold out immediately. That was always going to happen. There was no. I thought it was hilarious how many people were on Twitter being like, "Oh, I've got my queue says I've got an hour. Maybe I'll get it." Like these were Oasis tickets on crack. Like there was no way that this wasn't going to happen like this. They're being scalped for like $3 to $5 grand. Unsurprising. I think they'll settle down at about 2.5, so like just over double price. The DualSense and the Edge sold out quickly, but came in and out kind of consistently yesterday. Our Discord was full of people getting it later on. And the normal PS5 Pro did the same thing. What did you get, Chris Scullion?
I got a controller from Amazon, and I almost was forced to go back on my promise, not by choice. So when it turns out that this queue was a random drawing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that it was like a randomly drawn
Herman
queue.
Holst.
It's Herman Holst knocking at the door going, "You shouldn't have got one." I don't even know if that's what he speaks like.
Yeah, he's a villain in Indiana Jones.
No, exactly. I was expecting you to win one of these. Apparently the queue was randomly chosen. So me and Andy were both waiting in the queue. And when the queue ran, like when the queue was no longer paused and it was telling you what your position was, it then tells you have X amount of time left in the queue. So Andy's queue said you have more than an hour to wait, and my queue said you have 2 minutes to wait. I'm like, wait, hold on, what? So I said I only wanted a controller, a DualSense. So I said to Andy, if I can get these 30th anniversary ones, the Pros, do you want me to get you one? He's like, yeah. So I was ready. Obviously, he was going to pay me back. I'm not that generous.
You hope.
But so I was very nearly. I had it in my cart, and then it sold out. So I was very nearly in a situation where, despite everything I've been saying, I was actually about to buy a 30th anniversary PlayStation 5 Pro. And I did actually end up buying one for Andy, like the standard one. And he's going to pay me back because he was still waiting in the queue by the time the Pros sold out the first wave. So I've got like an order for a PS5 Pro that I don't want, and it's going straight to Andy's house. So I'm like, I can't believe that after all this time I said I would never buy one. I did technically end up buying one, but I will certainly won't be. I'll be getting my money back for it.
Oh yeah,
don't you worry.
I look, yesterday was a day. Okay, so I missed all of this through no fault of my own. But when I got when I got up, I was like, I resigned myself to not getting any of it, and I was like, oh, maybe people in the Discord got like doubles, and I'll buy one of them off them. But then the Edge was pretty consistently on PlayStation Direct all day yesterday, like if you were signed in. So I got that, and then I was like, I'm happy with the Edge because the Edge, I use the Edge every day, but I Edge every day, Chris Scullion. But what I really wanted was the normal DualSense. And then later in the day, for about 5 to 10 minutes, they were on Amazon. So I managed to get one. I managed to have enough time to get one, switch accounts, and order another one for Danielle Partis, who's currently on a boat somewhere without any internet service. So I did my brotherly duty and got her one. And also because this is such consumerism, because they were in stock and it doesn't take any payment, I also got a PS5 Pro. Despite the fact that I'll probably end up with one without having to buy it. So I'll either I will sell that to someone on the day who sees all of them and is like, oh shite, I wish I could have got that. Like I'll sell it to a Discord member or something. Or I'll scalp it and pay for my controllers. That's the two
I don't think you'll be scalping it because as I predicted, it's still not. I've just went on PlayStation Direct and
still
you can easily just buy a PlayStation 5 Pro whenever you want. It's not sold out yet.
I might have to buy another one then. I'll price fix them. I'll buy 50.
I know you're just going to empty their stock just and then bump it up £100 each.
Won't be able to pay my rent, but I'll have a house full of PS5 Pros.
But yeah, it's looking like that's not the. I don't know if it's because they've released it at the same time as the 30th anniversary one, and that's the one that becomes the valuable one. But it certainly seems that the stock PS5 Pro isn't selling out yet.
What mentalist decided to do the pre-orders for the Pro and all this 30th stuff at the same time? I mean, I respect the commitment to being absolutely ridiculous, but yeah, it's a bit strange. I'm happy with what I ended up with. Much like how the Astrobot controller sits over there. I want to see if anyone does little clear stands for the controllers, because I don't like, you can get controller stands, but they're so gaudy. Like, I just want a wee 3D printed clear.
I don't want one of those cable guys ones where with the greatest will in the world. It's like, I don't want a stormtrooper like holding my controller. I'd like to just have
the only like, I think I have a Spyro one somewhere. If they released a Spyro controller that made sense thematically, I'm annoyed that they'll probably do it eventually. I'm annoyed they didn't sell the 30th anniversary like double charger thing. They only put that in the Pro bundle, because I would have picked that up for like 20 quid or whatever just to stick stuff on it. But alas, consumerism.
We'll see. We'll get there.
I can't wait to see what these 1 of 30 PlayStation posters look like. I hope they look shit, because if they look really good, I would be quite sad.
Well, and it's meant. Why, I don't understand the logic in. It's bad enough making some limited edition, like then limiting it to 12,300. But I think we calculated before, there's only like 400 of each of these posters getting made. So I don't understand the logic in making something that is impossible to collect.
Yeah,
all of for a audience that is big in collecting things, that you would say every one of these is coming with 1 of 30 different poster designs. Therefore, it is absolutely categorically 100% impossible for you to get all 30 of them.
Not even if like, if it came with 1 of 30 and this was something that you could buy infinitely, there's the faintest argument. There is no universe in which you can acquire 30 of these consoles.
As a gacha machine with £700 gacha balls in it.
Yeah.
Like, no, you're not right.
To complete this poster collection, you are spending 30 grand to get that many consoles.
Just give us the same poster. One poster. What if you buy it and the poster you get is Helldivers on it, and you don't care about Helldivers? And your pal gets a Vib Ribbon one
from Days Gone, and your pal gets Bloodborne. Like, I'd be fuming.
And your pal gets a Vib Ribbon one. You're like, I quite fancied that Vib Ribbon one.
Like Vibrian.
You've got Medieval. Deal with it.
Dan Fortescue gets a bad rap on this broadcast. They should have made it the same poster and then put the poster on PlayStation Direct for like, I don't know what the value breaks
You're going to say 100. You're going to say 100 there.
Whatever the value breaks down to as a component of that bundle, put it on PlayStation Direct for more than that, so that the people that got the bundle don't piss about, but the people that actually want it, like, as I said, see if it was like PlayStation 1 concept art signed by some of the original team, I'd buy that straight away and like frame it or something like that.
Signed by Sweet Tooth.
Yeah. Signed by an ecstasy tablet. Anyway, speaking of ecstasy tablets, we'll be back in a minute. We'll see you after this. And we are back. Remember, more podcasts, more videos, patreon.com/video games chronicle. A couple more stories before we get to Patreon. Quick one here. The Simpsons Tapped Out is ending service in January after 12 years. In-game purchases have already been disabled, and the game will be removed from the App Store on October 31st. The game will be fully delisted and unplayable on January 24th, 2025. This is a very surprising one, Chris Skillion, because when I went on the Facebook page to get the statement for this, the latest post from a couple of days ago where they added, like, here's future Maggie, had like hundreds of comments and people being like talking about the latest update and all this stuff. So I have to imagine this is a licensing issue.
It's got to be. I mean, like, first of all, God rest it, obviously, but because I got it when it came out.
Yes,
and was in it for like a couple of months, and then like just kind of moved on, like you do with loads of these things. I'd assumed it must have ended years ago. I had no idea it was still on the go. Still kicking a ball, but not anymore. The ball's burst. But it's like you say, it must be a licensing thing, because, like you say, it's still got an audience. You got to imagine it's still making money.
Got to. The people that are still playing it are the people that are firing in.
They're the whales. It's only the whales that are left.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're going to make a new one or something new, because these things get to a point where they're impenetrable for newcomers. Like they did a Gameloft did a Disney one, some sort of Disney Magic Kingdom or something, and I wasn't aware of it. And then when the kids started getting into Disney, I said, okay, let's try this out. And it's clearly been many years like down the line, and you get in there, and it's massively overwhelming. And it's like, when this game launched, it had like 8 characters and a few rides that you could place, and now it's like, oh, you've missed the Star Wars collection with this 40 Star Wars characters in it, and you missed the Marvel collection where the Hulk was here 3 months ago.
Yep.
Oh, and here's 4,000 different collections you have to collect.
This is what I'm terrified about for Pokemon TCG Pocket. Like, I'm going to have to be on that every single day, because the day that I miss a promo card, I'm going to snap my phone in half.
No, it's one of these games where if you're not there on day one or close to day one, the longer it goes, the harder it is to not even catch up, but just even get a grip of the mechanics, because that's 12 years worth of updates. They said something like they've added they've had like 600 and odd updates for this app since it came out. If you were to play this for the first time, you'd be massively overwhelmed by everything that's not just there, but that is gone. All those grey squares and stuff you can't get anymore.
I think our story says that there's 1,400 quests in the game or something like that.
And how many of those are active? Like, a lot of those would have been limited time ones where, here's Stephen Hawking's in it for a week. And like 8 years ago, and I bet when you open it now, like Stephen Hawking's still there, greyed out, like impossible to get.
Just God like in real life.
Exactly. So yeah, it's. I would imagine it's like you say, it's either a licensing thing or they've decided let's do a hard reset and start again with a similar type thing.
I mean, people have to remember that when this kicked off, The Simpsons was owned by 20th Century Fox exclusively. Now they're under Disney, under Fox, so there'll be a web of issues that completely change how the money is like split. I bet Disney probably just wanting to re-angle this in a way where they're getting all the money from this. I would expect, because obviously a game like this, somehow The Simpsons is still going, even though half the actors can't do the voices anymore. So I presume we will see this return in some other form fairly soon. iPhone games for me. I don't. Balatro came out this week, but that's an addiction on another platform. The one that really got me was, and it made me stay up all night one night, and I missed school the next day because I could not stop playing it. Was Game Dev Story. That little mobile game where you like make your own developer and you like develop games and stuff. I thought that was unbelievable. Like, that really got me.
Mine was Tiny Tower. Was it called Tiny Tower?
I think
Remember they did a Star Wars version?
Mm.
That was mine. Was the Star Wars version of that. I was obsessed with it. Absolutely obsessed with it.
It was a really
when you get obsessed with one of these games to the point where you max it out.
Oh yeah.
And you actually you can't do anything else. You're just sitting there watching the money rack up that you're earning. Like the in-game cash, and you just the in-game bucks, and you're just standing there going, I've beat the game now. I can't do anything else until the next update comes. That was what happened with me. On a similar note, I'm going cold turkey on Disney Speedstorm finally after.
Oh really? Is it broken?
They've gone too far. They're taking the piss now. Every season they've been pushing it a wee bit. Like a couple of seasons ago, it was like, okay, half the characters aren't going to have voice acting now. You know, really? Like, there's some money being lost here. And this season is Pirates of the Caribbean, even though there's already Pirates of the Caribbean been in it before, and like the track is just an extended version of the one that existed. And last season they said, for the first time last season, one of their characters could only be unlocked with real money. And yeah, this season they said, "Oh, we've heard you all complaining. This season's character won't be the case. You can get them without spending real money." And you had to have the character from the previous season that you had to buy to unlock this new one. So I was just like, "Nah, we're done. We're done with that. Too greedy."
Isn't
so I'm now juggling.
Greedy? I can't believe
it's wild. I know, it's hard to believe. So I'm back to juggling EAFC and Multiverses as my two now.
EAFC. If you want more on EAFC, we have EAFC review roundtable with Morgan from Radio Times, which was good fun. Very nerdy, very in the weeds for the EAFC heads. And if you're playing EAFC, come onto the Discord, because we've got the EAFC 25 containment zone in there, which is good fun. There's a lot of people commiserating about how bad Rivals rewards were this week, etc. But that's enough. We're not allowed to talk about EAFC on this podcast.
Banned.
Let's get some questions from the Discordians. Pincheo asks, after a great start to the Champions League, how do you think the boys will fare in their European games to come? Very briefly, I'm sorry. I think we'll do okay. That's my prediction. We'll do fine. We'll give a good account of ourselves.
I'm hoping for 9 points. That's what I'm hoping for. 9 should be enough for the playoffs, I would imagine. So we've got 7 games left. Hopefully 2 of those are winnable, and then job done.
We'll get our flights booked to the final. Viva Lahazi asks, given the recent layoffs in the gaming journal world, are there thoughts for VGC to expand? I'd love more opinion pieces on the site myself. We actually talk about this in the Q&A that was released this week, but for a very short version, Andy isn't entirely keen about the idea of having a massive staff, and part of the reason that VGC works is because we're so tight-knit and we can read each other like a very boring book. But yeah, more on that on the Q&A if you want to hear Andy's thoughts about the site and the games media kind of hellscape in general.
Where can people find that Q&A?
Patreon.com/Video Games Chronicle.
Oh, God.
Just patreon.com. We've actually taken over the homepage because we're massive. Let's go for Mr. Dave. Should I be worried about AC Shadows being a bit shit? As in worse at launch than Valhalla? I don't think it'll be as bad as Valhalla at launch. Valhalla was an absolutely tedious exercise in wanting to cave your own skull in, but nothing about it is saying to me this is going to be some kind of 5-star banger or anything like that.
I'm like I said before, I'm struggling to get excited about it. And if it's going to be coming out 2 weeks before Monster Hunter, I'll be saving up and buying the version with the bike.
Hell yeah.
The Monster Hunter Special Edition with the bike.
It's only $1,000. Come on now. If you could spend that on the PlayStation 5 Pro, why not?
Here's a wee tip for anyone who likes a bit of banter. We've got a story on VGC just now about that Monster Hunter Wilds bike, and the Japanese Special Edition comes with a £1,200 bike. Copy that link, WhatsApp it to your friend, and say, "I didn't know your ma was in the limited edition Monster Hunter," and they'll be delighted. They'll be delighted with it. Go, what are you trying to say?
Or are you casting dispersions about my mother?
Correct.
And Jamie H1224 asks, do you know if the faceplates are universal across consoles? I managed to get the 30th anniversary Slim. Well done. So if I was to get a normal Pro down the line, would I be able to put the plates on that? I believe that is the case. I believe that the only difference is those kind of vents that make the thing longer, but the top and bottom I think is the same.
But also the vents concern me, because then those vents must be there for a reason.
It'll be to this. Yeah, I presume it's like.
So presumably you can't just take the plate off the Slim and put it on the Pro, can you?
Yeah, because the plates on the Slim are broken up. It's 4 pieces. It's not one big flat.
So
piece.
it is. So it is. It's split into 2. Never mind. Ignore me.
So I think that's kind of why, because the console cover works the same and stuff like that. Like the disc cover works the same. So I believe that is. If you want to sell me your 30th anniversary Slim plates, Jamie, I'll bump you up to a season ticket holder and not tell anybody. You'll still have to pay for the season ticket holder, but I'll bump you up free of charge. I apologise, asks. Oh, by the way, I apologise. You're bloody welcome for getting Ben Starr to officiate your wedding. That's not legally binding, by the way, but that went down very well. Thank you, Ben. Love you dearly. See you soon for our wrestling match. Do you think Sony went down the right path of bundling the PlayStation, the 30th anniversary Pro in quite limited numbers? Or do you think it'd been better if they just put it out the replacement plates? I've seen unverified reports, presumably on VGC, that Smiths got allocated 30 units of the 30th anniversary Pro for the Irish market. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get one, etc. and so on. I hate that they do this. It's like it's like the same model as like trainer drops, like exclusive Air Jordans and stuff like that. I don't think if they put out grey plates that didn't have the 30th like engraving and stuff, they were just grey plates with none of the extras, I don't think that devalues or the 30th bundle or would have made it any less of a total sellout. Just
do what, like a lot of these kind of rare, like Limited Run are a good example of this. They learned their lesson. When Limited Run first started, it was like it said the tin, like this game, first come first serve. Once it's sold out, it's sold out. We're doing a run of this many, and people would buy them all just to scalp the shit out of them. And people who actually wanted the games were struggling to get them because they were getting scalped on the day they were announced. And people are then having to go to eBay and spend like £120 on a game that was £40. Limited Run changed to an open pre-order model, and they basically said, look, these special editions, these collector's editions are going to take a while longer to turn up, because we will wait and see how many you want us to order, and then we'll put the manufacturing order in, and then you're going to have to wait for it to get manufactured. If Sony had said, look, this is coming in spring or like April, May 2025, but we're doing an open pre-order now for a week to see how many we're making.
Yeah.
After that week runs out, you're done. You can't get any more. But for that 1 week, you are guaranteed one. And if 120,000 people pre-ordered one, then they make 120,000 of them. So that everyone who wants one gets one. It's still limited edition. They make a lot more money off it, and the scalpers get absolutely kind of blanked out the entire equation. That's how you need to do it, instead of this fucking 12, like 30, if that's true. Smiths in Ireland got allocated a classroom's worth of consoles.
I mean, considering there was, what, 12,000 of them, that seems...
12,000 worldwide, so it makes sense.
When I started reading that, I thought he was going to say that Smiths got 30 across, like, the UK and Ireland.
Yeah, just Ireland. It's vile. It makes me so angry. And it's like, it's like, do you not want the money?
Because that is the other thing that's weird, because
you'll make money off it. I would have bought one.
There's no advantage to them doing it this way. Like, even if it's like the first 12,300 are numbered, and then after that they're not, I couldn't give a shit. Like, I would just get one at that point.
Literally the only people it benefits is scalpers. It doesn't even benefit Sony, like you say. Like, they could have sold 100,000 of those, no problem.
I look forward to this episode being deleted from the archives when they send us one of the 30th anniversary ones. Won't
be happening.
Oh, we'll see. Super Smiley says, maybe you can make me feel less pessimistic about the current state of the industry. We'll try. With the price of the PS5 Pro, Sony hiking the price of Horizon ahead of the remaster, Microsoft seemingly noping out of the hardware business, leaving Sony without a viable competitor, and the reactive obsession with service games, are you worried about the direction of travel the industry currently appears to be on? Or is this a bump in the road that will self-correct? It will be fine. I think that the industry is in a weird spot, but there are incredible games all the time. I also think that in terms of stuff like the price of the PS5 Pro, while it is shocking on the sticker, plenty of places have broken down that for the product they are offering, that is kind of the money that you would have to expect it to be at. The hiking of Horizon is like scummy and very, very, very like cynical. Microsoft noping out the hardware business, that's kind of their own fault for the way that Xbox have been ran. Like, it's
but also are they? Because they like Sarah Bond's spoken about how she's dropped hints about like the next generation. Like, it feels like they're just noping out of mid-gen updates.
Yeah,
and the next Xbox will be the next generation. I don't think they're completely dropping out of hardware.
No, I assume they'll move to like a ROG Ally style model, like the chat, and that the chat for years now, since all those court cases, were that they're going to make it so that basically anyone can make an Xbox, like obviously licensed via them, but there will still
the
be
old 3DO model, because that went well.
There will still be Xbox hardware on shelf. Well, maybe not on literal shelves, because I'm not sure literal shelves will exist, but you'll still be able to buy Xbox boxes. Yeah, I can understand why people would feel uneasy about the way of things, but I think it just depends on how you look at it. Like, there's been so many good games this year already, and there's going to be more. There's always good games, and the industry always goes through weird stages like this. There was like the every game had to have multiplayer stage. There was the motion control stage. There was like,
they need to find a solution to this season pass shit. Not the not season passes, the season model, the live service model.
Yeah,
because that's not sustainable. Like, people like me, like people are picking their games, and those are the games they're sticking with. So like I say, for me, it's EAFC and Multiverses. I don't have time anymore for any other games. When you get to the stage where stuff like Doom Eternal had a season structure, it's like, well, no, like you're putting extra resources into something that a lot of people give a shit about. And that seems to be the trend continuing, that every game's got to have some sort of live service element, and that's just adding to development costs, and that's in turn going to lead to layoffs and stuff like that when people inevitably don't engage with the with the extra content, because a lot of people just want to play the game, finish the game, move on to the next game. We don't want to be engaged with your game 9 months down the line because there's other games coming out. Like, there are games that suit a season live service model. There are games that don't. They need to stop shoehorning it in because it's costing extra money for stuff that people don't give a shit about.
Yeah, honestly, there's examples this year that I think a lot of places should look to. Like, it's weird, and we'll not get into why it's weird that it's sold like this, but Wukong, entirely single player game, sold like 20 million units in a month. Like, there are angles to aim at, but the problem is all the games that are currently in development were in development over the last 5 years during this model, so
exactly,
it's hard to correct for that kind of stuff.
It's like turning a ship. Like you're not going to see the reaction to this for years to come. Like, in a couple of 2 or 3 years' time, you're suddenly going to see games stop putting live service elements in.
Yeah,
but it's going to take a while before it happens. But
it certainly will. Right, let's get out of here. Later this week, there'll be an EAFC review on the site. Do you get any reviews going at the minute? You reviewed about 40 games in the past month.
I did. I've reviewed lots. I've got 2 on the go, but luckily they're kind of generous embargoes, so which are always the best because you don't want to rush them. These are 2. I want to take my time with them, but yeah, mid-October they'll drop.
I think I've got 3 on the go. One of them we have on the go at the same time, and we'll do a little one of these, a little for the audio listeners. I'm doing some kind of like tactical back and forth motion with my hands to imply a review roundtable for an upcoming release. But that'll be fun. Patreon.com/Video Games Chronicle. Next week you'll get Off Topic, and you'll get the E3. We've got to come up with a good name for that. E3. The Piss Watchers, that's what we're going to call it. The logo will have Chris Scullion taking a piss on E3, like those old Calvin and Hobbes
cartoons with the guy peeing on a football team.
Exactly.
Sounds good.
Who can say what football team we'd be peeing on? Certainly not us. We're a bipartisan podcast.
Joe, you used to get those in football scarves all the time. My last season, or the season before, my brother bought me an amazing football scarf because every time we went to the Celtic games, we always laughed at it. And he finally bought me because it was the most ridiculous scarf I've ever seen. And sadly, it's now out of date because it was an Ange Postecoglou scarf. But it just said on it, Ange Postecoglou, wild colonial boy. So what the hell does that mean? So he bought me it for my Christmas. What a scarf. Absolutely brilliant.
Baby, let me tell you how I love you so. He's our wild colonial boy. Okay, follow us on Twitter at Jordan Midler, at Scully1888. If you only listen to the audio version of this, you can get the video version on our YouTube channel. We'd like to thank the great Grant Kirkhope for the VGC podcast theme song. Until next week, say goodbye, Chris.
Goodbye, Chris.
And we'll see you next time.